Good morning, day 53 on the Florida Trail. It is 7:43 a.m. and we're about 0.4 miles in. Have so far, a nice walk along the Usilla River out there. It's been dry so far. Up here on the trail, we had one tiny little water crossing, but we could just leap over it. Basically, it wasn't much of anything. A warm night last night, and a little bit humid. It was, I don't even know what the temperature was. Felt like it was maybe in 60 or more. Not really sure. Probably in the upper 50s. But yeah, it was comfortable. And fortunately, we didn't have too many mosquitoes in the tent. One or two got in here and there. But, you know, happens. Got to get out and go to the bathroom sometime. So, we have 16 plus to do today. I think maybe like 0.7 or something like that. I'm not really sure. And we're going to end at a place called JR's. I'm not entirely sure what JR's is. Convenience store or a restaurant, not a restaurant I don't think, but a bar. I don't really know. But we're going to find out. But before we get to that, we will have several miles of road walking. JR's is on a road, and we have to, on a hard surface road that is, so we'll have to walk that for several miles. At the end of the day, that is that is part of the trail. But until then, it looks like we're going to have trail, which is nice. Hopefully it stays dry. Well, that's a pretty tree there. Hopefully the trail stays dry enough for us to stay on. We expect that we might get our feet wet a little bit. At least there are a lot of side roads that kind of are not too far off the trail once we get up here, maybe a couple of miles. So if we had to, we could hop off and walk some roads. I think this section is known to the hikers as possibly being wet or likely to be wet and flooded at times. And just a couple of weeks ago, when the river level was quite a bit higher, people were literally swimming on the trail and even on some of those side roads. So we're really hoping that right now it's all clear for us, but we're going to make the call when we get up a little bit farther. First water of the day, and we're going to try to see where this trail that other people have gone on through here pans out. All right, we got to the log crossing at Nomo mile 738.2, and basically couldn't cross without being at least waist deep on me. It probably would have been deeper. That's all the farther I checked out in the water. So without being willing to swim across, we bushwhacked. Can't even say what direction it was, upstream, I guess. And we're trying to, ultimately what we did do was head over here on the other. We found a narrow part of the stream that we could cross. We could kind of just take a big step across it. And what we were shooting for was this. It's an old trail called the Cross Seminole Trail, I believe. We can see it on far out. It's not maintained anymore, but it is, as you can see, followable. It's good enough. This does, the FT is right over there somewhere in the trees. So, not really sure how far away, but this should intersect with it again in a little bit. View of the Ocilla River Rapids, at least the bottom end of them. Although right now they're not very rapid-y, I would say, just because the water's so high. Just another view of the depth of the Ocilla River right now. See those trees out there in the middle, which I'm sure is not really the middle. In normal cases, we're at we showed you the rapids earlier, and we've walked the 0.7 up the trail, and there's a random camping spot up there at mile Nobo 740.4 or something like that. And at that spot, there was essentially a lake in the woods. And it was pretty big. We didn't want to take the chance of bushwhacking around it and getting, well, stuck in the woods, or not knowing which way. The trail was not really conducive to crossing and trying to find it again on the other side. And anyway, so we backtracked the 0.7 back to the rapids, and now we're taking this service road. The trail is right over there, through the woods there, over by the river. We're just, this road is not on our map, so we're just heading in the direction and hoping to connect to something that is on the map and figure it out from there. We've decided to just finish our day with the road walk. We'll explain it later when we wrap up tonight, when we get to JR's. This is the road that will eventually take us to JR's. We probably have about, I don't know, 6.5, 7 miles. It's unfortunately a lot of trail section back there that we are not gonna see. Back at the connection point here, this is where the Florida Trail comes up northbound and reconnects with the road we were just walking on. I'm not quite sure how far that was for us. I'm thinking maybe 1.5 miles or so. Nice break to an old quarry that is filled in with water now. Nice sight along our road walk. Walking past an abandoned dolomite mine. Isn't that exciting? There it is. And you thought you had seen all of the abandoned dolomite mines. It is the famous JR's Ocilla River Store. And this is where we're stopping. Hopefully, as the reports are, that we can camp here, but at least get cold drinks. I hope we can camp here because there's really nowhere else to go. All right, here we are with the wrap up for day 53. It was a different kind of day. We started out at the Ocilla camp. I think it's Upper? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Upper Ocilla camp. And well, we weren't really sure what was going to happen today because there are reports of, not even reports. We've been watching the website that tracks the level of the Ocilla River. And it's in a flood stage, essentially.
It's at 53 feet.
Yeah,
yes, it's flood stage.
It's now a little bit, just below that as of now, finally. However, I think, barely. But people were saying a week ago that it was about a foot higher. There, all that rain that came through 2 weeks ago or
Not
whatever.
that they hiked through. But...
Right, but all that rain that came through 2 weeks ago or whatever, up in Georgia mainly, is now coming down here. So the river's high. It is receding every day, but only by 1.5 inches or so every day. So it really isn't much. The river wasn't the problem though today.
No, well, but that's not that. The river wasn't the problem either on the.
Maybe in some spaces it was, but yes, you're right.
It's just the residual.
It's the water everywhere else.
Yeah.
That is the real problem. At least for us it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was just so. We walked, a little over 3 miles. and we had bushwhacked a little bit up to that point and got around
Yeah,
some
we were
water.
able to skirt around
Yeah.
stuff. Yes.
Our feet got a little bit wet,
Yes.
but really nothing at that point. And then we did come to one spot where we had to walk through some water and bushwhack. I'll say a significant bit.
It was knee.
Yeah, it wasn't horrible.
It was just short. It
but-
was like 2 steps and you were out of it.
Right.
So.
But we did have to find our way around.
Yes, to get to
around
that space.
Right. So we had to walk up southbound, actually compass south, away from trail to find another trail that would just happen to be showing up on our map. It was not a maintained trail. I'm not sure how long it's been since it's been maintained, but we were able to find it and then
Jump
follow
back
it.
on.
Yeah, follow it back to the Florida Trail. So that was good. And at that point, we're like, okay, now the trail seems to be pretty good, and we were going along, and then we hit that 3.5 mile mark or whatever it was, and that was it.
It was just swamp forever.
Yeah.
You saw one orange blaze and then nothing. You didn't
Yeah.
even see the next blaze.
Well, there was
we weren't sure.
There was the one right in front of us
Right.
on the trail at the edge of the water.
Yes.
And then there was another one way up in the middle of the water.
in the middle of the water.
Yeah.
And then
nothing after
and
that.
then nothing after that.
Yeah, we had no idea which direction the trail really went.
Correct. And we tried. It was an immediate drop.
Yes.
You go to the water and you put your pole in and you're like, nope, that's deep there.
Yeah. At one point I tested it and I got at least to the handle of my trekking pole, which would have been at least waist deep.
Yeah.
I'm sure had we gone any farther, it would have been even more.
So we did consider. We were looking for ways to bushwhack around it, like
Right.
looking up and looking down. But I mean, it was water everywhere.
Everywhere.
It wasn't just that it kind of petered out. It was just
Yeah.
it was
It was a lake.
yeah. It
was a
was
lake.
anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and we even looked as like, okay, but the trail was going off to our right, and the only way we could bushwhack was way to the left. So
and
we
then
would
who
have had
knows if that even would have gotten
Right.
us out of
Away
of
from the
any-
water.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So we
Yep.
backtracked.
We backtracked 0.7.
Yes, which wasn't hateful.
No, it wasn't. That was
know?
a nice part of the trail.
Yes.
That was actually a really
Yeah.
nice part. So we backtracked that, and we got back to the Osceola Rapids,
Yes.
and because there was a road there.
Yes.
Again, the road was not on our map,
No.
but we walked out it, and it turned in the direction that we wanted to go.
So we're like, yay!
Yeah,
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
and we followed it.
And we
then
followed it.
the road turned, but there was also another less used road
That
that
once
went
again
straight.
kept going straight in the direction that we wanted to go.
Right.
So we kept going in that way.
Yeah.
Got
Maybe.
over a little bit of a hump.
Yep.
And there was that water.
There was the water, and
It
you
was
could
the same
see,
water.
We could see, we could see on the map that it was likely the
Yes.
exact same water that we had just stopped at,
Yeah.
just off to our right.
So
Yeah. So that was, I mean, we may have gone 0.1, close to 0.2 to get to that. So we backtracked again, back to the same road,
and then we're like, okay, we're just
Yeah.
road walking because this is what we're doing today. We're just road walking it out.
yeah, but we had no idea where that road was going to
Right.
lead us.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it did lead us to, like I think I said this morning,
The detour.
There's a whole bunch of service roads out there that are on our map. It's a whole grid of roads. And fortunately, the road we were on led us right to that.
Yes.
So then we knew where we were, and we just, based on the few comments in Far Out.
So, yeah. So you mentioned this morning about telling them why they're
Yes.
Far Out. If you don't know the app, it's great because you can get current or up to date comments on things.
From other hikers.
Yes, like this water is good. This campsite's great. It's like
Yeah.
March 15th.
I swam across the river. Yeah.
However, for a lot of the icons that we were seeing coming up today, there were no comments. The last ones were 2023.
At the, yes. Yeah.
Maybe a 2024. So we're like, okay, I don't think
Yeah.
anyone's
No
hiking
one's coming
this
through
trail
this.
this year.
Yeah.
So that kind of told us too that was not
It was
a
not
feasible
really-
situation
right.
to actually try hiking the trail today.
Right. And also thinking ahead, we knew that we were coming here to JR's, which is where we are now. And there was also comments for JR's from other hikers that said that the owner was telling other people coming through about the previous people that are coming through, and they were swimming, they were backtracking, they were, you know, needed assistance and that kind of stuff. So yeah, all that put together,
Yeah.
it just wasn't a smart move for us
No, so we
to
just,
continue on trail.
yeah. You can only backtrack and bushwhack so many times, and then I get a little bit irritated. I was like, we're done.
Yeah. So fortunately, the road we were on led us all the way. We could just stay on that road all the way down and pick up essentially the road that led us to JR's, more or less. There was another turn, and it eventually did reconnect with the Florida Trail, because
Yes.
that road does eventually the trail comes
Yeah, the
back
road.
out.
The road connects to the road, which is the Florida Trail.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not. It wasn't trail.
Yeah.
It was road.
Yeah. So we, I forget what the numbers are, but we ultimately we came up about 3 miles short today of where we where we would have been. So I mean, we still had 15 miles on our watches.
Yeah.
We still, because of all the bushwhacking and
Because
all
of
that
the
kind of stuff.
bushwhacking, yeah. I mean, we still did close to the
Backtracking.
miles that we were supposed to have today. Yeah.
Right.
It's just 3 short of 3 or
Well, whatever.
It's not the FT.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we're at JR's today. It's I will show you here in a minute. It's a convenience store, but they're very nice. They're hiker friendly, small resupply options.
They have cold drinks though. So
But
that's
yeah,
nice.
cold
Orange
drinks
juice.
that was critical.
Yeah.
So and they open again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
Which
So
is nice.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yep, because that is the bathroom for us for camping. So there's no bathroom once they close at 7 p.m. So,
Right.
but I did confirm that
6 o'clock.
they have we'll have hot coffee.
Fantastic.
Yes, so that'll be nice. Yeah, so that's the plan tomorrow is get out of here, because we would like to do the whatever it is 22 miles.
I round up. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
22.
even if it's 21.2, it'll still be 22.
That's not true. But
Okay.
we can have that conversation
Yeah.
off video.
So we've had this conversation, by the way. Fractions count. We plan to hike all the way to St. Mark's tomorrow. There is a small closure, trail closure, because of logging, but that's small.
Because of logging.
Yeah, because of
Not
logging.
because of flooding.
That's right, not because of water. We will have to walk through some water, but there is at the
I
beginning
don't
at
care
least.
about walking through water.
Yeah, but there is logging that we will have to. They've closed the trail. And then there's also a hunt going on tomorrow.
There is a hunt going on, so we cannot go onto one particular road which is like our mile 14.
Right.
But we can't get onto that before 1 p.m.
1 p.m.,
Apparently,
yeah.
they kick the kids off at 1 p.m.
But it's most of the way through our day, so that shouldn't
It's
be
a
a
youth
problem.
turkey hunt.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's 53. And also we'll just say the gnats come out here, and they hurt. They bite, or whatever they're doing. They hurt.
We're hiding right now.
We're
And they're
inundated,
swarming
yeah, which
and
is why
they're
we're in the
hiding.
tent again, because they just, you step out and they're just all over you.
Yeah.
And they really do hurt.
I'm
So
hoping that when it gets dark, they're gone.
yeah.
They'll go away.
Yep. So anyway, that's where we are, and I think that's it for today. All right. Have a good night.
Good night.
All right, here we are at JR's for the night. It's a convenience store up in the building right up in front there. There is a very basic resupply in there. They have tuna packets, and they have a couple other things that hikers, candy bars and things like that. So you could do a little bit there, especially if you're going to push like we are tomorrow all the way up to St. Mark's all at one shot. So there is over here, I guess if you go into the convenience store, you can order whatever the hot food that they might have that day. Apparently today they have sausage dogs and hamburgers, I think. So that actually comes from over here somewhere. I think there must be a kitchen or something in there. So, but back here behind JR's is where they allow you to camp. There's this boat shed here. So first of all, there is a little bit of grass over there behind, over by those gas tanks. And so you can camp over there. But also under this boat shed, at least at the moment, there's a lot of space. And the owner said that sometimes people will set up under here as well. We have chosen to set up under here tonight because there is a chance of rain. You can use the bathroom inside the store, but the store closes at 7. at least tonight. Opens up again at 6 a.m. So outside of that, there's no restrooms out here available. You can get water in there, of course, at the sinks. There's also a spigot outside here right up by that shed. So, all right, that's it. This is JR's. Have a good night.